Welcome, guys. This is the Tech Maestro. The mail for this the mail for welcome, guys. Compared to my last video where I talked about my Easy 104 certification, from the title, I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm about to talk about. But first, if you're new to this channel, this the Tech Maestro. I'm just talking about my journey into tech, different things that helped me on my path. So it's more like a personal diary to me. So if I look back, I could point out to the fact that these are the steps I've taken to help me achieve things. And also for someone new out there or anybody out there who is looking to achieve one or two things, I could just recommend this channel to the person and they should be able to follow up my steps. I'm interested in DevOps, understanding software engineering properly, and whatsoever. I really can't point out how the journey will be per se, because we are humans, we are bound to evolve. So if you're new to this channel, welcome, and my old subscribers, I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's get to the video. I actually call this phase the registration and onboarding phase, because the way this phase came about is quite funny. Because if you register, you were successful, you have to meet a particular criteria before you get accepted into the actual program, which are the learning phases, like stages. So the application came out in mid-May or April, no, mid-April to May. So you have from, if you qualify, if you successfully get into the program, you have to meet the criteria before the end of May. This phase was actually funny because how did I come about the application? I came about the application through the developer student community in our school. So I saw the form being shared out. Everybody was like, there is this Google Andela, and I was into cloud at the moment. So there was like, I checked the tracks on the form and I was seeing there's cloud, there's web, and there's Android also. So I was quite eager, and it was, in a way, it was beginner friendly. I had to Google about it. I read about the program. I saw that, okay, they are going to actually take you through a process of 6 months or so, and they'll give you well tailored courses. So this phase, I applied late. Shout out to Acing, because he actually sent a mail containing the applications saying this is a nice opportunity, I had to apply. So the application, I actually applied late. I think I applied in late April. Then in May, a lot of people were like tweeting about it, hey, that they got into the program, and I was like, oh wait, I haven't gotten my acceptance mail. And they were talking about they have to meet the criteria and how they will complete everything. So funny enough, my acceptance mail came in late. It came in early May. Then I had like 2 or 3 weeks to complete the criteria. The criteria was you have to watch at least 1 hour of the content. So if you get accepted, they'll send you a mail, an acceptance mail, and in that mail contains a link to Pluralsight courses. So you have to engage with at least 1 hour of that content. I did that. I successfully did that. One thing they did was there were a constant follow-up mail. I think every weekend they'll be sending you a constant follow-up mail, like a reminder to, have you completed, have you engaged with the courses, and that was really about that phase. It wasn't really stressful. This phase was quite easy. I think I did like 3 hours. I just watched a course, 2 or 3 courses, and it was like 3 hours, and I was done with this phase. So I was waiting for the actual mail, that's the next level mail, to get to the next phase. So this phase was quite chill, nothing really much. This phase overall, I didn't really find it stressful. I did not find it like quite challenging, but let me give you a view of how it was. For this phase, I waited before getting the congratulatory mail. I was waiting. That was in May. I waited all through May. Then the congratulatory email came in early June, and this phase was like the actual phase. This was like the real thing, because we have entered the program properly, because the program starts in June and ends in December. So this phase actually started in June and were to be done by mid-July. So when I waited all through May, I was waiting. Then I started seeing people in early June saying they have gotten the mail. So I was expecting mine. Mine came in. I was quite happy. Then there were new requirements. The requirement was this time you have to complete 10 hours plus. You have to engage with 10 hours plus of the content, and also score above 100 on the skill IQ test. So the plural side have particular skill IQ tests just to test fundamental knowledge on the track you are on, and I was on the cloud track. Uh, I did not really find the skill IQ test for this phase very difficult. It was quite easy, and engaging with 10 hours plus was not challenging. Although there were labs, there were quick labs that came with each courses, and they were easy to follow through. Also, there were peer learning groups. Andela gave us a peer learning group and a mentor assigned. For this phase, the mentor was inactive. I really don't know why. Different things. Probably he got busy or something. And most of my mates in this group, they weren't, they were not active either. So what I did was I sent a message on different WhatsApp group chat, the DSE community, any group chat I was on. I sent a message that okay, I made it to the learning phase 1 for the cloud track. Anybody that wants to join in with me, we can learn together and hold each other accountable. And quite a few people reached out to me. There were 5 or 4 of them. They reached out. I created the group chat, and one thing about this phase was the energy was high. We just got in, and June to July, just 10 hours it's not a big deal within 6 to 8 weeks. So everybody was quite of high energy, high morale, and in no time, in less than 3 weeks, we were done. We took the skill IQ test. Everybody was scoring above 100. I think I had above 200 or so. So the morale was there, and in no time, we were done with the requirement, and we were just waiting. And Andela had different sessions. There were workshop sessions, AMA, Ask Me Anything, and there were different avenues for you to engage on the Slack platform, because there was the whole Andela thing was on the Slack platform. So there were different avenues. So this phase was chilled, and all the requirements in less than 3 to 4 weeks, I was done with them, and all that was left to do was to wait and keep on learning. I took my time to also do extra work, learn the fundamentals of what the videos were saying, try to understand, redo the labs over and over again, because the point is not just to get certified but understand what you're trying to do. So after the 3 weeks, I still had spare 3 weeks. I went through the labs again and the courses again. I watched some extra courses just to get a view of how things are. And that's really all for this phase. All that was left to do was now to wait. And I was waiting to see if I'll make it to the next stage. This phase, the email came in early August. Like the congratulatory email came in early August that okay, congratulations, blah blah blah. You successfully made it to the learning phase 2. I think one thing was it took time. It took time for this one to come because we were done in mid-July and we had spare 2 weeks. So I think Andela were like taking time to check people who qualified for this phase and see if they will make it to the next phase. So it took about 2 weeks. Then the mail came in early August. Then this one was about 6 to 8 weeks, and it came with new requirements. The requirements were just, I would say, were higher than the previous one. Obviously, as you go higher, the stuffs increase. The requirements were you should complete 20 hours. That means engage with 20 hours plus of the content. That's a new content, a new set of courses, a new set of playlists, including some of the old ones, but these ones are well tailored to build on the fundamentals. So the first set of courses in the learning phase 1 were like fundamentals, trying to introduce you to the Google Cloud, networking, different concepts that make up the cloud. Then this second phase was like building on top of that, maybe incorporating a project using different services, doing actual projects. After, like, you have to build on that using that fundamental knowledge. So, and for the skill IQ, you have to score above 180. So I think your previous skill IQ, if you have scored above 200, you have to retake. That was what I think, because in this phase I actually retook it. So this second phase, you have to score above 180 and also engage with 20 hours plus of the content. Now this is where it gets funny, because this is August. This is August to September, and the morale was like average on that WhatsApp group chat I created. So first off, it was getting harder. Being very honest, it was more difficult, and I was trying my best to like push people because some of them really did not have some foundational concepts. I was like, guys, let's go, we can do this. We kept on pushing ourselves. Midweek, some things will come up is life. Maybe you have a particular engagement or something here and there. So for me, it took like up to 5 weeks out of the 6 weeks to complete. I completed it in 5 weeks. I took the skill IQ test, had above 200. So I satisfied the requirements. Then some of my peers in the WhatsApp group had other engagements, so they really could not make it. We tried to like motivate them, like, hey, come on, we can do this, but I think it got harder, yeah, and the initial excitement was quite gone, which happens in life. Because sometimes when you see something new, you're all interested in it. Then when it gets harder, so some of them actually lost interest, and some of them decided that okay, they had some other things. So we're really like four left out of five to six, just like four that made it out of this phase. Then at the end of August, we were waiting. Then there were different workshop sessions, AMA, and they were like advice like on what to expect. So after the fifth week, then there was this demo project. So Andela sent a like list of exercises. If you're for the cloud track, they were more like quick labs, like a set of quick labs. I think if you have to do 10 to 15 continuous set of quick labs to reinforce your learning. So you just complete that, push it to a GitHub repository, then send the link, submit the link. So it's like a demo project phase. So it's preparing you for the next phase, just to understand what the next phase will be about. So that also was quite easy. I did that in like 3 days because I had done the labs before, so I just had to redo them, have a screenshot, move it to my GitHub and submit. So this phase was pretty much okay, although it was more demanding than the previous one. And I would say just be patient in this phase because some things take time to learn. I really did not have it easy. I had to go and watch some extra YouTube videos outside the courses, and you just have to view it on the long run. So like I said, the initial excitement that was on the group chat reduced, and for my peer learning group and mentor, the mentor for this time was quite active, and he helped. He constantly sent stuff. I was really not active on Slack because of some things. So but when I came back online, I saw that okay, he helped, and there were actual members on this peer learning group that were actually active. So I interacted with them to try and understand what exactly is their what problems are they having. We try to share ideas and we try to collaborate. So in all, I think this phase was actually much more enlightening and more interesting because I got to meet new people, and I also get to like one of my peer learning group was in Uganda or so. I think Uganda. I really can't either Uganda or Ghana. I'm not sure, but it was in Uganda or Ghana. And it was really nice trying to talk with someone from another country, trying to see how if both of you share similar ideas. And finally, there were like how will I put it? There were weekly exercises. So weekly exercises give you points. So for the weekly exercises, I collaborated with him because he was one active on the peer learning group. We did the weekly exercises together on Zoom, and Andela introduced the leadership. Is it the leaderboard? Yes, they introduced the leaderboard, and at the end of the week, you can go refresh, see your ranking because it's the top 1,000 people that are going to qualify. So that was pretty much for this phase. I actually learned a lot, and I would say it was quite interesting and very much on par. And I got to meet new people, and I got to like get to see new ideologies to the same concepts I got to understand. So after I completed this phase, I was waiting for the next level email, which I wouldn't know whether I made it, but I was constantly checking the leaderboard to see if I was in the top 1,000, which I was at some point because I dropped to 1,400. So I was trying to check the leaderboard to see if I was, while also waiting if I would get the next level email. So that was really it for this phase. Yes, this project phase was 3 weeks. I'm not pretty sure, I can't recall, because the other phase, which was the learning phase 2, finished in August, and we were waiting because on our WhatsApp group chat, since I told you the learning phase 2 was quite rigorous and stressful, so after we're done with this phase, everyone was pretty tired. At this place, the morale actually at this place was actually dropping, and everybody were like, we still have a project phase to go, and we did not know how the project phase for the cloud is going to be. So we're quite looking forward to how it's going to be. Since we did the demo project, that's the demo project for the last learning phase 2, since we did that, so we're like, okay, maybe it's going to involve quick labs, maybe it's going to be actual project or not. So we're done with learning phase 2 in August, and we're anticipating. Then the mail came in, congratulations, you made it to the project phase. The mail came in September, mid-September, and it was going from mid-September to October. Yes, it was going from mid-September to October, so that was how it was going to be. And there were also community projects too. So in the mail, you get a mail welcoming you and a link to the courses you will take and the labs. The project phase for cloud were just complete a set of quick labs, and if you're interested in working more, that's if you finish all the labs in that one, what you're going to do, you can also take community projects, although community projects will not like add to your points on the leadership board. So that was really all about the phase. It wasn't difficult since the labs, we already had idea of how the labs, and the courses were not quite new. But one thing Andela and Pluralsight did was they added new set of courses, like there were DevOps courses, there were cloud architecture courses. So the courses, there were a lot of courses you could take if you were done with your project phase, just to improve your learning, and I really found that very interesting. So on the group chat, where at this point in the WhatsApp group chat, we were actually like 3 left, just 3 of us that made it to this phase. And on the peer learning group, we still use the peer learning group for phase 2. So like 3 of us there, or 5 of us there, made it. People were not actually responding. So the guy I was communicating with, I was from another country, I think Ghana or Uganda. He made it to the project phase. I was quite happy, and we started work. 2 weeks in, for me personally, something came up. I don't know, I started this phase late. Something came up, but successfully I was able to like complete this phase. I was able to complete everything about this phase. So I did not register for the community project because I knew I would not have time, so I don't want to sign up for what I would not give my full time to. So I completed the project phase. I submitted. I think you also submit via GitHub. You do a screenshot, create it, and also submit. Then there were weekly tests and all. So we did the weekend test with that guy together. Then towards the end of the project phase, the guy on the peer learning group, he went inactive. So I guess he also got busy, because our last weekend test we did together, he was like, man, he's going to get busy soon. He just hopes he complete this on time. So we did that, and for my WhatsApp group too, we all completed it too in no time. So the morale here was just like, okay, the morale at this point was, okay, we are halfway through, let's keep pushing to the end, which is why I believe it's very important to have people you are doing it. Doing this alone is actually not easy. So the morale at this stage was quite okay, and we were all like looking forward to the certification phase. So by October we were done, and there were different sessions and workshops and everything, and what I was just waiting for was like the next level email, and it was meant to come in mid-November. I told you it take 2 weeks. So that was all for the project phase. Nothing really much, nothing stressful. It was interesting, and what I did with the remaining weeks was just watch some courses on Google Cloud Architect, and basically it was quite interesting. I really enjoyed this phase. It was not that stressful, and some of the workshops too I attended just to see some new things being done, and our mentor was also quite active, though I was not active on Slack like that, but he was active because he sent some videos and all. So that was really it for this phase. What was left now was in November. When it was done, I was waiting to see if I would make it to the certification phase. So I just kept on waiting, and that was really it for this phase. I call this place the waiting phase because we were done in early November, and from November all the way to December, we had nothing from Andela. So everybody was just like, "What's happening? What's happening?" It was just literally the wait. We're all just waiting. There were different questions on the Slack groups like, "What's happening? When are we going to get the feedback?" On the leadership board, I checked my position. I think I've like moved up a little. I was at 800 or so I was like, okay, since they're picking top 1000, I should make it. So this phase was quite funny. I really have to talk about this phase because you just have to be patient, because all through November we had nothing, and by their timeline they were meant to get back to us in late November. So all through November we actually had nothing, and we were like, okay, what's happening? Have they forgotten about us, or are we out of this phase? So that was really how this phase was. It was just like a little bit of panic, a little bit of fear, a little bit of, okay, they are going to reject us. They should, like, if they are going to reject us, they should just reject us on time. So that was really how this phase was. So that's why I called it the waiting phase, because man, it was a long wait. Waiting for 6 weeks was not actually funny. So that's it. Then I've just been waiting, and I'm always refreshing my mail. Still nothing. So I just had to check some videos, do a little quick lab, check some videos, do a little quick lab, not to like give my learning space so as not to forget the concept. So that was what I was just doing all through this phase. Now, funny thing, at the beginning of December, I had forgotten to an extent because we all went about doing different stuff. I was also like preparing for the Azure. For my previous video, I was also preparing for the Azure. So I was using that period to like also prepare. So I had forgotten about the Andela stuff since throughout November we had nothing. Then I really don't know what happened. I just decided to check my Slack, and I saw people in the first 2 weeks of December doing like, they were sharing news that congratulations that they have been like selected for the certification stage. So I was like, wow, so people have been selected, and wow, that means, oh, I think it has been a long journey. So I think I tried trying to make the certification stage. So I was like, okay, it's fine if I don't make it. So my mindset was like, okay, what's the next stage? Okay, just try and pass your Azure certification. And one thing about this cloud is their concepts are quite like applicable. It's just different naming and maybe different methods of carrying out, but the concept, the fundamental concepts are still like quite the same thing. So I just kept on preparing for my Azure Administrator Associate, and I kept on preparing. So I was preparing for that. Then mid-December, then I saw an email that you're on the waiting list. So I was like, okay. I asked people on my WhatsApp, they were like, they haven't said anything. So I was like, okay, what next? Then 2 or 3 days after that email, then another email came that I've been selected for the certification. I should fill a particular form. They'll send me my exam voucher. I was actually surprised, and I was like scared and shocked because, well, I haven't been preparing much. I've been preparing, but I've been preparing for Azure. I've not been doing much of GCP. So I've been doing GCP once in a while, maybe every weekend. So when that mail came in mid-December, and they wrote in the mail that you have to take your exam before mid-February, I think February 20 or so. So you have to take your exam before that. So immediately I took the AZ 104. I took the AZ 104 in November. I'm not sure, November or December. I took the AZ 104. Then I aced it. Then I was okay. I was like, okay, now I'm done with the AZ 104. Now I had time to prepare, and the school was also coming in. So I was like, I have to take this thing before mid-January because the strike has been called off, and I was like thinking that I can't like try and prepare for this thing while in school because I know they were going to rush us. So this phase I was just like trying to analyze. So I gave myself 6 weeks. That's like, no, I gave myself 4 weeks actually. because the first 2 weeks I wasn't really doing GCP. So what I did was the remaining 2 weeks in December, plus I scheduled the exam to be early January at first. Then I rescheduled to be mid-January for some reasons, because I wasn't going to be free during the first time I scheduled it, so I rescheduled it. Mind you can reschedule your exam 5 days before you take it. So if you don't reschedule it within 5 days, I think you pay a particular fee, which is very high. I don't have the money. So what happened was I rescheduled it, then I rescheduled to mid-January, then I started preparing. I used 4 weeks to prepare. Then I went through the labs. I watched the foundational videos first. Then I had a mental map of how every fundamental thing is going to be. Then I went through the Associate Cloud Examination syllabus. So as I went through the Associate Cloud Examination syllabus, I tried to check, okay, this is what we're going to be tested on and different parts of it. So that was what I did. Then I broke it down. Each week was associated to a particular two or more distinct points. Each week was associated to it. So that was what I kept on doing over for the next 4 weeks. Then in the final week before my exam, what I had to do was I had to do a general revision. Then I went to take the exam. Taking the exam the night before, I think I slept well. There was no even to prepare like that, so I just slept and I was like, well, I've tried my best, let's see how it goes. And I went to write the exam. On getting to the exam, my exam was by 10. On getting there, my venue was somewhere in Ikeja. On getting there, I was quite scared because I really don't know. I got there early. I actually got there early. I wasn't really scared per se, but I just had to make a quick revision of Kubernetes. So I got there very early. My exam was by 10. I got there by 8. So I did the revision of Kubernetes, tried to understand some little concept of Kubernetes. I wouldn't suggest to go with your laptop. I just went on my phone. Then I understood some key concepts with Kubernetes. Then by 9, I was just waiting and chilling to write the exam. Then the exam, I entered the exam hall and I took the exam. So the exam was 50 questions, 2 hours. And one nice thing is you can review the questions. So here was the strategy I used. If I wasn't sure of any question whatsoever, I clicked on review, meaning at the end of the question, I had to review. So it was 50 questions, 2 hours. Then I think I had about 12 questions by the time I was done. 12 to 15 questions by the time I was done to be reviewed. So what I did was, those ones I reviewed, I used the method of eliminating options. Okay, A and B cannot be there, so the answer is actually between C and D. Then I had to think deeper on why my answer was that. Then slowly, I was left with 5. From 15, I was left with 10. From 10 to 5, like that. So I was done. Then I was ready to submit. But I heard amongst people that had written it before, I heard that okay, they don't see your results. So I was like, okay, if I submit, I will not see my results. So what happened was, I submitted, then I left. I submitted, then I saw a survey to be filled. I had 20 minutes left on my time. So when I submitted, I had this survey to be filled and I filled it. So after filling it, then I submitted the survey, then I left. Then I was asking the man that, won't I see my result or something? The man was like, no, they will send it to you, but you should be able to see if you pass or fail from the result. So I was like, wow. So I had to go back to check my system, and I saw result pass. So I was like, wow. So in total, it's just the grace of God, honestly, because some questions were actually technical. So a breakdown of the question: some were direct, some were very direct, okay, if you want to store something if you want to use a database that scales based on how many users and everything, which one are you going to use? Some were actually very, very direct. Some were conceptual, meaning you have to think about the fundamental or underlying concept being used. There were a lot of questions, I would say, on a mix of different services. So if you're a particular engineer and you're at a company, I don't want to preach Google Cloud certification exam policy and also I'm just giving you the basis of how the exam was. Some were direct, some were conceptual. If you're a cloud engineer at this and you want to do A, B, and C, how do you go about it? Some were just about cloud policies and all. Some were just like, if you want to do this, which policy fits. Some were about your IAM. Some were command line based. They were basically command line questions. So if you try and understand the commands to take, if you're an engineer and you want to deploy or you want to stop, or if you run this and these commands, what will you do? And the final set of questions were more like, how would I say, they were more like, I would say story-like question. You have to calm down to understand them because they were like choose two, and it's always best you pick the one that is based on Google recommended practice. So they were like choose the best two options and you have to pick the one that follows suit with Google recommended practice. So seeing my results, I did that. I was really glad I made it, and which is why I'm making this video for anyone out there also taking it. Be calm, be patient. If you are just slightly unsure of the question, feel free to click on review. It doesn't matter the number, and use your time wisely. Don't sleep on a question you don't know, and it's all right not to understand the question at all. For the first 10 questions, I was a bit blank because I was just like, wow, these are difficult. But over time, I got to ease into the questions and I got to like understand what they are all about, and it was pretty much interesting. After that, I left. Then my official mail came in 3 days later compared to the 7 working days they wrote. I think 2 or 3 days later that I'd been officially Google certified, and I was really happy to make a dream come true because a lot of people really helped me to get here. It's not by my effort, the grace of God, and a lot of my peers and people I've met, and even at home too. So I was glad to break the news to like my friends and family, telling them I made it to the certification phase, and I also got like certified. So that's really it. I think what's left now is to give you my final advice and overall exam experience. So for my final advice, overall, let me start with the experience with the GADS program. Overall, it was a wonderful program. Big thank you to Google, big thank you to Andela, everybody, my learning peer group, the mentors. Big shout out to everyone. I appreciate everyone that helped me on this journey. The experience, I would say, was amazing, and it was quite okay because each week Andela kept asking for feedback. So if you had something to say, kindly put into the feedbacks. The courses for a start were a bit overwhelming, but as you move through the phases, you get used to it, and it was quite interesting. It was quite interesting seeing yourself progress and making progress over duration of 6 to 8 months, because it started around May, June, and I got certified in January. So it was quite amazing to see myself make progress over this month. So if you're going to take this program, it's something I would greatly recommend if you're looking to get into cloud and also get certified as an associate cloud engineer by Google. And you get to meet amazing people, professionals, and take workshops. Though you have to have enough data subscription, I would not lie, because in this part, like Nigeria, internet subscription is very, very expensive. So you have to have enough subscription. And Pro site is like 720p to clearly watch this video. So that's it. My final advice. So let me start with the program. So for the program, I would say be patient. Take your time to understand the fundamentals. You're not rushing. You're in competition with nobody. You're just here to improve your learning and also learn from others. Like you learn from others, they learn from you. It's not competition. The leaderboard was like, I saw it as a way to like motivate people to see that okay, we are improving because I started as 1,800, then I improved to 1,600, then 8,000, then I ended up being at position 800 and something. So the leaderboard should not be as a competition. You're not here to compete with anybody, and be open-minded. Don't feel like okay, I have this certification. oh, I have that certification. Okay, what does this guy have to offer? No, be open-minded, be willing to learn, be humble, be willing to learn from everybody, because I saw that playing around some of my peers. I think they had some higher certifications, that's on the peer learning group or something, and they did not see the need to be engaging with like people on the group chat. So I just felt like it doesn't really matter. The main thing is we are here to learn and help each other. So help, be open-minded, and finally you'll be playing the long-term game, because 6 months is no joke. 6 months takes time. I told you at learning phase 2 or learning phase 2 especially, we were very tired, if not for my peers on the WhatsApp group, and trying to make each other push each other forward. I was actually tired and it was overwhelming, but that's the point. So you are playing the long term game and understand the goal. You are not just chasing the certification, because the certification is like a test on the knowledge you have gained. You're trying to be sure of your own actions and trying to be sure of your knowledge, and you have applied them to be showing what you can do. So that's it. Now for the exam, my advice would be have first, once you get the voucher, schedule your exam, because if you don't schedule your exam, I think that this is just my opinion. I think you would be forced to procrastinate if you don't like schedule the exam. So what I'll say is, once you get the voucher, be sure to like schedule the exam on time. What I did was I scheduled it for early January. When early January did not work, what I also did was I rescheduled by 1 week. I was just dead on that I have to take this thing by mid-January. That was just my mindset. I have to take this thing by mid-January. Aside school, it's just something I just wanted to do on time, because I'm sure that the duration I gave it, the more chance I had to procrastinate. So once you get your voucher, be sure to schedule your exam. Secondly, ask for advice from people who have taken the exam. So around December, those that got the certification exam in the first week, towards the end of December, they are taking it and they are aced it. I can recall saying I like sent an email to like 5 people asking them, how was your experience, what would you advise? And they were really kind, and some of them replied, some did not. At the out of 5, 3 replied, and I took the tips to heart, which I shared with you guys. Break it into weeks. The thing is, you can't really predict the questions that will be like spinned to your computer, but what you can do is adequately prepare. So there were like 7 areas, and some had 2 areas more than some others. Some had Kubernetes more compared to IAM, some had storage more compared to normal Google Compute Services. So I would say send a mail to them, ask for advice, note their advice, learn from their tips. Then finally, for me, I would say, if you don't get certified, it's fine. It's not a competition, it's nothing. If you don't get certified, you work on it again and try again. The main thing is for you to understand the fundamental concepts, because that is exactly what the ACE is testing. The ACE is more like a with first exam, meaning your test across the fundamental concept across wide Google services, compared to the professional certificates, which are like depth first. So this one is more width based, and that's just really how it is. And that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you enjoy it, I'll say you should like, subscribe, and it's just more about taking it one step at a time. It's a journey, it's your race. And what personally to me, I'm just here trying to make the best of everything we are all trying to do. We're like trying to be a better version of myself each day and becoming world class at what I do. So if you have taken the exam, if you have gone through this process, like, you could comment and share your experience below for others to learn. If you feel you want to add to my advice, welcome. You can comment your advice down, and that's really been it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video, and looking forward to share more of my experiences with you guys. Bye for now, guys. See ya.